Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to discuss about ADO.NET. First I will give a simple introduction about ADO.NET. This ADO.NET stands for ActiveX Data Object.NET. ADO.NET is known as database technology. It is used to develop database interactive applications. It can be used for database connections and offers to perform database manipulations like inserting data to the table, deleting unnecessary data, retrieving the required data from the table, etc. It can be used in any type of applications like console applications, Windows applications, websites, etc. It offers much efficient features to easily handle with the database tables. Now, let's see what is this ADO.NET database connection architecture. It has database, driver, and then .NET application. Let's see what is this driver. This driver acts as a mediator between the front-end application and back-end databases. The driver can also be called as the provider. Now let's see about ADO.NET database transactions. This ADO.NET supports to perform transactions such as query processing, non-query processing, and a stored procedure. Let's see what is this query processing. It retrieves the data from the database with a select statement. Then non-query processing. It doesn't retrieve any data from the database. It insert, delete, and update the data at the database. What is this stored procedure? It executes a stored procedure that is already created at the backend. Now I'm going to discuss about ADO.NET libraries. Here I'm discussing about using system.data library, using system.data.sql client library, using system.data.onlydb library. Now let's see what are the purposes of these namespaces. Using system.data. It contains necessary classes and namespaces to manipulate the databases. Using system.data.sql client. It contains necessary classes used to connect and manipulate to SQL server. Third one, using system.data.onlydb. It contains necessary classes to connect and process any other database except SQL Server. Now let's discuss the purpose of each class one by one. In the namespace using system.data, we have classes dataset, data table, and data row. What is this dataset class? It acts as a buffer that holds multiple tables. Data table. It acts as a buffer that holds a single table. Data row. Acts as a buffer that holds single row. Now let's see what is using system.data.sql client library. This library contains classes SQL connection, SQL command, SQL data reader, SQL data adapter, and SQL parameter. We use SQL connection class in order to maintain the connection with database. And SQL command. It executes a query or non-query statement at backend. Now SQL data reader. It acts as a buffer which holds the data after execution of a query statement at backend. What is this SQL data adapter? Execute the query statement at the backend. SQL parameter. It sends a parameter or argument value to backend stored procedure. Now let's see implementation of connection with system.data.sql client. First step is import the API. For that we use the library using system.data.sql client. Second step will be prepare the connection string. Here we create a string with the name connection string, and then we have to give the data source. Data source will be our server name, and then you have to give our database name as initial catalog. Third step will be construct the connection class object. We have SQL connection class, then object will be CN, then new SQL connection string. Fourth step is open the connection, CN object, then method open, then close the connection, cn.close. Now let's move to the coding part, how to make our connection string. First of all, I am going to create a new project. Here we need Windows Form application. Here you will see Windows Form app.NET framework. This is the one that I want. Then click on next. Here I will change my project name as ADO.NET. Now click on create button. Here is our project, and you will see the design view here. If we want to see the code view, you have to right click on the design view and click on view code. Here is the C# code for the design here. Here you will have some files created automatically. We do not make any changes inside these files. Here is our toolbox. I will take one button. Here is button. I will make it center. Now click on the button. At the right side, you will see the properties. Here is my button properties. I will change the text that appear on our button. I will change it as connect with SQL server. And then we can give a button ID. I will give button connect. Also we can change the background color as well. Now let's see how to code the back end part of this connect with SQL server button. Here we inside the properties. We want to go inside the events part. Here is the events. You will see click events here. Double click on these click events. Here you will get this. Inside the method button click, you have to follow the steps that I gave. First step is import API. Here we have to import API using system.data.sql client. Then the second step, prepare the connection string. Let's see how to do this. String, connection string, I will name it as cnstr equal inside the inverted commas at your data source. Here you will see your SQL server name. You have to add your SQL server name as the data source. Now at the semicolon, we have to add our database name. My database name is sample database. Here I will add our database name as initial catalog. Equals sample database. And then integrated security equals true. Now let's move to the third step. Here we have to construct the connection class object. SQL connection object cn equal new SQL connection. Then connection string. As the fourth step, we have to open the connection. cn.open. Before close the connection, I want to add the message box in order to show a message which says successfully connected with SQL server. For that I am adding a message box dot show. Write the message inside inverted commas. Successfully connected with SQL server. Then close the connection. cn.close. Now let's run this one and see how this works. Click on start button. Here you will see the dialog box successfully connected with SQL server.